we went to Community Board 9 and we said, what is it that you need? And at that time, Columbia was buying up a lot of the property coming up by 125th Street. They said, we need affordable housing. Our kids will not be able to live in this community with the gentrification that was going on. We took that seriously and embarked on a partnership to build Castle Gardens. In 2010, we opened up Castle Gardens, 114 units of both supportive, 63, and 50 affordable, and one for the super. 20,000 square feet of program space where we have services. And since that time, we have been a real partner with Community Board 9. Community Board 9 meets in that space. We have become a polling place. Each week we do a food distribution, mainly to seniors, where we serve over 300 seniors, where we give out eggs and produce. That is partnership. We do a back-to-school event. We do health fairs for that community. We have become a real community partner. And so now we have two other projects that are in development. One on 123rd Street between Park Avenue and Lexington Avenue, same model, mixed use, supportive housing for people with criminal convictions and affordable housing. And we're doing one on 97th Street between Broadway and West End. Both projects, we engage with the community, and the community is fully in support of that. And we look forward to open up both of those projects in sometime next year, middle to end of next year. And so we have decades of history of providing housing stability to some of New York's most vulnerable New Yorkers, people with criminal convictions. And we look forward to taking that expertise and that experience and building out just homes. And I would add that Community Board 9 wrote us a letter when we first got this designation in 2022, and it's in my testimony. The letter says that Fortune has been a really good neighbor, and in fact, they recommend that Fortune should be in every community, in every borough, throughout the city and throughout the country. And I think that is a testament to the relationship we have built over the years with Community Board 9 in that particular community.
Thank you for that response. How do you ensure that there's a balance between public safety in the neighborhood and making sure that people living there in your buildings have the services that they need? I know you've mentioned the nursing location, any other services, the security cameras you've mentioned. And again, I know there's just a reiteration, this is on already a hospital campus that's closed, but if you can expand further on any other public safety measures.
As public safety, it is not reentry in itself. It is not alternatives to incarceration. It's public safety. What we know is every life that we get an opportunity to touch, to give hope, and to envision a future where incarceration is not a reality for them, that means our communities are safer. I'm a formerly incarcerated man who, in my younger days, devastated my community. And I hope the work I've done over the last 30-odd years, has paid back some of what I caused for my community. But the opportunity Fortune gave me when I came home from prison stopped my cycle of incarceration. My cycle of incarceration was stopped, and I was able to stop my children's because I was in prison, my brother was in prison, my sister was in prison. We lived that life, and thank God that my children and my grandchildren would not have to know the life that I lived because somebody gave me a chance.
Chair, can I have expended time?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that response. Just on my own, just because I've been doing a lot of my own research, trying to make sure I have full context of this process and timeline, do these public engagement events sound accurate to you based off of your engagement, Fortune's participation, and both with H&H? So in 2022, we have HPD designating Fortune Association briefing and public comment.
Yes.
In August of 2022, we have CB11 hosting a virtual briefing that was attended by H&H, HPD, and Fortune Society. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And also the administration issued their Just Homes press release. And I also have in September 2022, former Councilmember Velasquez hosted virtual community briefing on housing for health with H&H's participation. And I believe additionally to that same year or month, you folks had CB11 meeting at Jacoby with presentations from both yourself and H&H engaging the public.
Yes.
And then in 2023, we had the Jacoby Community Advisory Board briefing where there was also an additional public meeting at Jacoby.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that I have an accurate timeline here.
And then there was a public meeting with Health and Hospitals Board where they voted unanimously for the ground lease. We've also have done a tour of Just Homes with former council member Velasquez.
Okay, thank you for those additional points. And just mentioning on the 83 apartments that will be here, we know where there's 58 supportive housing units, 24 affordable studio units through Housing Connect and the superintendent apartments, all 100% affordable housing development. Can you talk a little bit more about the wraparound services on the campus again? And then can you tell us anything additional to the security on the campus itself in addition to what you folks are already providing?
Yes. So everybody, once they come in, they'll go through the lease process where they'll sign a lease, they'll get a move-in date, they'll be able to move in. Everybody will be assigned a case manager and a care manager. Care managers are the folks who help them get and stay connected to healthcare to make sure that they're taking care of what they need to do. The case manager is someone who helps them navigate all of the systems that they have to go through to make sure they have additional services. We usually start off with 3 visits a week, so it'll be 2 face-to-face visits and a visit in the unit. So we are really assessing what are the needs that they have, what are the resources available to them, and how do we make sure that they're connected to those resources. That is also about building a relationship. So they know if they're struggling with something, they have somebody that they can talk to, someone who they could have confidence that will be available for them. And so those services are going to be available as long as they live in that particular building. On the security side, our residential age, the way we normally work it is we have 2 people on each shift. We have 3 shifts per day, 24-hour coverage. They make hourly rounds, so they go around, they check to make sure, one, the tenants are all right, particularly in that building because they're going to have complex medical needs. And so we want to make sure tenants are all right, so they do hourly rounds. Those rounds are all documented in what we call our shift reports. Every shift report, anything that seems out of place, anything that raises a concern, confirming that rounds were made and everything was clear, is all documented in our shift reports. Those shift reports at the end of every shift are then emailed to the supervisor. So the supervisor and the director of that building understands what's going on at the end of every shift. And that is in support of all of the cameras we will have, which record on motion. The cameras that we have in Castle Garden, it records on motion. No motion, it will not record.
Thank you so much. And then just based off of your experience already working with different developments, I want to get a better understanding of either the selection and screening process. I know you've already gone through some of that. And I just want to clarify some of the things here. So we will have folks that are likely have nowhere else to live, leaving a jail facility, and we're looking at who would be the best, quote unquote, the best candidate for this housing. Mm-hmm. So we have CHS clinicians that are going to consider all of the patient's health profile, including the severity of their illnesses and their level of functional need. And then we're looking at primary health conditions that are potentially including cancer, congestive heart failure, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, cirrhosis, and end-stage renal disease. And I'm sorry that I'm asking you for this, but since no one from the administration is here to answer this or clarify, I'm asking just because you are having these engaged conversations as you're going to be the provider on this campus.
Yes.
And again, the majority of the folks here are going to be medically complex patients who will likely, based off of the average that they've been able to see, is 55 plus. Does that sound accurate to the conversations you've had?
Yes, that is accurate. In addition to that screening, Fortune, once they hit the eligibility threshold, Fortune will be doing our own screening, and our screening will be about appropriateness for the level of care we provide. So, for example, if somebody needs hospice care, we cannot provide that care in just homes. So we will do our own assessment in terms of appropriateness based on the level of care that we can provide as a service provider.
And what's the likeliness of folks needing, I know you mentioned transport will be available.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of how many folks will be, commuting within the Jacoby campus versus maybe some of their primary care or their specialty care off campus?
Yeah, I don't have a sense of how many, but we think because this is a population that's going to be about 55 years old and have multiple medical conditions, that mobility may be a challenge. Sure. So we have built into the program vans that will be able to take people to and from their appointments. And you should also know that Jacoby Hospital, there is transportation on Pelham Parkway, the 12 bus, and there's a couple of train lines, but it's not easy to get to. Sure. And so we are building in transportation to help people with mobility issues get to and from.
I frequent Jacoby and I can never find buildings, so I get that.
Yes.
Okay. The only last question I have is just based off of, and I know you may not have this number in front of you in any way, but if there's a guesstimation to the percentage of maybe veterans you've served, do we have that percentage? I mean, I haven't looked more recently at the numbers that we have of veterans in Rikers right now, or veterans that might be impacted in this case. But do you have an idea in Fortune's history, like what's the likeliness of those folks coming through for your services and for your housing? That just wanted to know if you have that number.
Yeah, I couldn't give you a percentage, but I would assume that some will be veterans. What we've seen, particularly on Rikers, a number of veterans have been going up. In fact, when I was the first deputy commissioner of programs and operations at the Department of Corrections, there was a veterans dorm because we had that many veterans, right? And a dorm holds 50 people. And I think that program has expanded. So I don't know how many dorms they have, but I would say right now it's probably 50 to 100 people who are incarcerated on Rikers who might be veterans. And those are veterans who are identifying as veterans. You have some veterans who don't identify and therefore wouldn't be in that particular category. So I couldn't give you a sense of the percentage, but I would assume that some will be veterans, yes.
Okay, thank you. Those were all my questions, Chair.
And Chair, if I may just, this has been really put on my heart early this morning, and I'd just like to share it with this committee because this committee and this council have been really bold, and I think the work over the years has been reflected in what I'm about to read. And this is based on my faith, and it's Matthew 25, 34 to 40. And it says, "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me.' Then these righteous ones will reply, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you?' And the king will say, 'I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me.'" And I think this is a moment where we need to stand in the gap for some of New York's most vulnerable New Yorkers. And Just Home is one tool to allow us to move a critical inch towards showing humanity and giving grace to those who might have made a mistake but deserve a second chance. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We're just going to pause, and I would like to recognize Councilmember Felice has joined us online, and we are going to be reopening the vote for land use items 343 and land use items 344 for the Whitney Museum of Art interior and exterior landmark. Councilmember Felice, how do you vote?
Aye on all, thank you.
By a vote of 7 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, the items are adopted and referred to the full Land Use Committee.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. We now have questions from Councilmember Nurse.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for sharing that and reminding us that compassion is exactly what is needed in this time right now. You know, we just saw or heard on Fox News one of their anchors talk about lethally injecting homeless people. And I think all of us that heard that just felt how low we are right now. Yes. And so I really think that the dignified and very elegant way that you are managing this project is exactly the leadership we need. I want to thank Fortune for all of your partnership and just how well you all work with the council. And as the chair of criminal justice, you all always show up and speak to the needs. You provide transparency anytime we need information or we have questions about your projects, your budget, programs, funding that the council has given. You are always responsive and ready. So thank you for that. And I'm sorry that some of the questions today have been absurd. I mean, the idea that people who are 55 plus with diseases might be having babies is kind of it just shows the absurdity in which people are looking at homelessness and people in need. And I'm really sorry for that question. Chairing the Committee of Criminal Justice, the thing that we've just hammered on over and over again and advocated for to City Hall is that we need support for people with chronic health. And as someone who has gone to Rikers since the first week I became a council member, and I've been many, many times, someone with a heart condition, people who have serious mental illnesses, someone with schizophrenia, someone who has got liver failure, being in Rikers or being in a jail system or prison system is absolutely the worst place for them to be. They're getting absolutely no care and certainly not up to par care that they need. This type of project is exactly the type of project that we need to support our homeless population. Because just because you are homeless or just because you did something a long time ago doesn't mean you should deserve to die in the streets. That's right. Right? That's right. And it doesn't mean you should deserve to die without care and someone who stands by you. So I will just say that I'm going to be working as hard as possible with my colleagues to support this project and champion this project. This is based on a real need. This isn't made up. Right. And I think sometimes the opposition to things like this is because people just don't realize how close they are to being in the exact same situation. People don't realize how a late stage in life mental illness or chronic disease can put you on a very fast track to homelessness. That's right. And sometimes it's easy to deny that by just kind of keeping it out of sight and out of mind. But the fact is, these are our people, yes. These are New Yorkers, and we're not throwing them out, and we're not leaving them out to dry. That's right. So I want to make sure this works. I think you all have provided so much information, and you have been very transparent and upfront about your operations, your protocols, your security plans. I mean, there couldn't be a project that I have seen in this committee talked about at length like this. And I really wish that Correctional Health was here standing with you They have been in our hearings many, many times, specifically identifying this need.
Yes.
And it's really disappointing and shameful that they're not here to be with you.
Yes.
Because I believe and I know that people at Correctional Health are with you and believe in this project. And hopefully, and I believe will be the case, next year we will have an administration that actually is going to support real solutions and isn't going to cower in moments like this. So thank you for doing what you're doing, and thank you for your partnership with the council. And that's all I have to say, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Council Member. Are there any other council members with questions for this panel? Seeing none, this panel is now excused. Council, please call up the next panel.
The next panel, and excuse any mispronunciations, Ronnie Colangelo, Lisa Colangelo, thank you. Lisa Villela, Bernadette Ferreira, and Gina Calendo. Ronnie, you don't want to go first? You don't want to go first? Okay. Lisa? Sorry, as soon as we set the clock. You may begin. Oh, sorry, make sure the button is on. The light would be red.
I've lived in Morris Park my whole life. I am raising my children here, and my 80-year-old mom lives on Seminole, directly across the street from this proposed site. From the windows of this building, you can see directly into my mother's home, as well as her neighbors who are elderly or have young children. Mr. Richards from Fortune Society told us not to worry because, quote, these people have one foot in the grave. Stage 4 cancer and end-stage renal failure were two diagnoses that were told to us. Then the story changed to medically complex, which could be 2 diagnoses. Then the story changed to pretrial detainees with possible mental health and substance abuse issues, and that the only security will be cameras and a front desk person. If your mother lived 100 feet from this building, wouldn't you be concerned? Fortune Society restricts who can live at their 97th Street facility. They cannot have a history of methamphetamine production, arson, sex offenders, those who pose a risk of violence, or anyone Fortune deems inappropriate. So since they get to pick and choose who lives there, that leaves us with the people that they don't want. There are numerous daycares and schools within walking distance, as well as the Kennedy Center, which is a facility for developmentally disabled individuals located approximately 20 yards from this building. One population that is in desperate need of affordable housing are our seniors. Many have spent their life working hard and trying to make ends meet. Now, as they live on fixed, limited incomes, many need to downsize for financial, medical, or mobility concerns. With the high cost of food, prescriptions, and housing, many of our seniors are struggling. This building would be a perfect location where seniors can live in small, manageable, and affordable apartments with easy access to Jacoby's medical facilities.
Thank you. Bernadette Ferreira, please restate your name for the record. You may begin.
Okay. Good morning, Chair and committee members. My name is Bernadette Ferrara. I'm the president of the Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance and a lifelong Northeast Bronx resident. Today, I speak on behalf of my many years as a Bronx resident. There are many reasons why I strongly support at 1900 Seminole Avenue. And to note, Just Homes is a first-time experimental project for the Fortune Society and for New York City Health and Hospitals. The community asks the New York City Health and Hospitals, the mayor, and the city council to work towards a win-win solution. The communities respect New York City's Health and Hospitals' need for revenue. We ask that you respect our love and the needs for our communities we call home. The Just Home project is not our community's need. Our list has veterans housing, senior housing, a community center, a birthing center, a wellness and culture center. And these are the top priority needs before Just Homes in our communities. Our major concerns are its close location to many of the schools and the safety of our residents. The Fortune Society will choose who permanently lives there and who was referred by the Correctional Health Services. CHS has disclosed that most of the medical conditions suffered by Rikers inmates are not complex medical needs, but mental health and substance abuse problems. The permanent housing will have minimal security, and the Fortune Society will not be discriminating on any of the reasons why these inmates have been incarcerated. This means that the Rikers tenants will be roaming freely in our community. Who will be accountable when situations happen? This Just Homes project at 1900 Assembly is too risky at this location for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie?
Hello, I'm Ronnie Colangelo. I've been here a few times. The Correctional Health Service says there aren't enough sick and dying people on Rikers Island to afford this project. So what's going to happen when they don't have enough people? Who are they going to get? Where are they going to get them from? So our gentleman from the Fortune Society didn't bring up the problems of Mr. Compass, who did business with them, rented an apartment to them. First tenant, fine. Second tenant, gang-bang drug dealers, who he had a fight with, and he got arrested. Not them, because, you know, they're from the Fortune Society. So you sit there and you listen to what he says, and you go, oh, they're not going to be pretrial detainees. Who are they going to be if they're not sick and dying? And this is a big cash cow for the Health and Hospitals Corporation, because where are these people that are sick and ill going to go? To the hospital right there. And they're going to bang them over the head. They're going to be making a fortune from this. It's almost a cash cow, because everybody sick and dying is going to need medical help, and we're going to be sitting there with them coming and going. Christy mentioned about people coming and going, staying, this and that. Yeah, what are you going to tell them? You can't have guests? So, you know, I don't want to say birds of a feather flock together, but as he confessed, many members of his family were incarcerated. Maybe members of the people staying there have families that are incarcerated or involved in criminal activity, roaming around the neighborhood, having a good time, seeing what's here, what's there. I don't want to say all my friends were a little shady, but when they were having problems, they would find an empty house, walk in, take something, and walk out. So you're going to have little or no security. He's worried about people doing donuts, keeping his people awake at night. So what are we going to have? People roaming around with no security or limited security, and if anything pops off, oh, well, we can't guarantee the future, and you still haven't fixed the clock.
Thank you. Gina?
My name's Gina Caliendo, and I've lived near Jacoby for my entire life. I have a vested interest in this project, and I'm speaking not just as a local resident, but I'm also speaking as someone who recently completed 12 months of chemotherapy, and I truly hope that none of you ever have to experience that. There's a lot of hard parts of having cancer, but you know what's the hardest? It's not the fear, the treatments, or the side effects. It's all the waiting. Waiting for your doctor, your labs, your infusion. Due to a lack of planning and foresight, many H&H hospitals are unable to safely prepare chemotherapy for their patients. This adds significant time and cost for every patient. Why does H&H care so little about cancer patients? Jacoby has a 1-star Medicare rating and a D from Leapfrog. Is it their leadership? I don't think so, because a further investigation shows that Jacoby is not alone. Most H&H sites have a 1 or 2-star rating and Cs from Leapfrog. The failure is at a corporate level. If this were a private system, all of them would have been replaced. Patients use H&H when they have no other choice. Why are we okay with our poorest and most vulnerable receiving poor quality care? But I do want to highlight the safety concerns around this project. Think of the staff, the young nurse leaving that facility alone at midnight, the housekeeper coming in alone at 5 a.m. Who will help them when one of the residents assaults them? For those who say there is no risk, let's talk about Joyce Grayson, a home care nurse who was murdered by a medically complex patient she went to care for, or the Oltons, who were tortured and killed in their home by a recently released individual. H&H demonstrates a lack of care for their patients. This project shows that they don't care about their staff or surrounding community. Regardless of what they claim, this is about trying to increase their revenue without investing in improving the quality of care they provide. Jacoby campus is the wrong location for this project. If they had asked the community, like they did for the previously discussed Lincoln project, they would have heard that Building 2 would be much better used to support our aging population. Thank you.
Thank you. This panel is excused. The next panel will be Patrick Stevens, Rafaela Elmi, Diana Finch, Robert Cohen.
I just need 10 minutes.
Okay. I just want to reiterate for the panelists and those that are coming up for panelists, when you refer to a member that is on this dais, please refer to them by their council member and last name, not first names. And Patrick, you can begin. Touch the button on your microphone. If it's red, you can speak.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and distinguished members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this testimony. My name is Patrick Stevens, and I serve as a leadership fellow at the Center for Community Alternatives. As a systems-impacted individual, I can attest to the critical nature of this issue. I was incarcerated for nearly 25 years before my release in 2022, during which time I had the opportunity to earn a bachelor's degree through the Barred Prison Initiative and a master's degree from New York Theological Seminary. My professional endeavors are now dedicated to youth development, anti-violence, and restorative justice work, as well as advocating for criminal legal system reform with a particular focus on reentry support. I appear before you today to advocate for the Just Home initiative in the Bronx, where I currently reside. I have a profound understanding of the positive implications of providing adequate housing for justice-involved individuals. Conversely, I hold grave concerns about the consequences when their fundamental housing needs are not met. Now, the Just Home initiative is an evidence-based housing solution that will demonstrably enhance public safety. Furthermore, by housing individuals with complex medical needs, such as those with stage 4 cancer, end-stage renal disease, and congestive heart failure, Just Home will help to disrupt the expensive cycle of emergency room visits, police interactions, and reincarceration. This initiative is built upon proven and successful models. This success informed the creation of the Freedom Commons development in Syracuse, New York, which is operated by the Center for Community Alternatives. Our organization provided technical assistance based on Fortune Society's model, which resulted in 54 units, including 11 permanent supportive housing units for justice-involved individuals. The Denver Supportive Housing Evaluation documented a 52% reduction in arrests, and in fact, there has been no evidence that since Freedom Commons has been established or Fortune's Castle that there has been any increase in crime. As a result of that, in fact, public safety has been increased, and they've been getting the support that they need. So the data is unequivocal,
Your
supporting
time has
housing.
expired, so please make this your last line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Generates an estimated $15,000 in public funding, savings per person, and offsets 67% of program costs. So I implore you to support the Just Home Initiative. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Rafaela, you can begin.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Rafaela Elmi, and I am the Policy Associate at From Punishment to Public Health at John Jay. P2PH works to transform the infrastructure of public health and public safety. As a native New Yorker, I've observed the real-life implications of housing policies on the city's most vulnerable populations. Housing and reentry services are a critical part of promoting community health. Gaps in housing services have had detrimental effects on formerly incarcerated individuals with complex medical needs, leading to worse housing and health outcomes long-term. Chronic homelessness, incarceration, and healthcare access have long been treated as distinct issues, but research and personal narratives suggest that these issues are interlinked, directly impacting community public health. According to an NIH study, 80% of formerly incarcerated individuals leave prison with a chronic health condition that requires consistent medical care. Furthermore, the 2023 report on healthcare in New York City revealed that 79% of individuals with high medical needs experience greater housing insecurity in comparison to those without such needs. Through our cross-sector advocacy group, which brings together stakeholders from separate sectors to explore how public health can drive equity, the Fortune Society has been an essential partner in advocating for supportive housing initiatives and reentry services. This initiative emphasizes the critical need for formerly incarcerated, chronically ill individuals to have access to immediate medical care. In consideration of the information provided, the Just Home Initiative presents a solution to chronic homelessness and can disrupt the revolving door cycle of incarceration. Individuals with chronic health conditions are less likely to commit crimes and just need to be close to direct medical care. This initiative will also help to cut costs for crisis services such as hospitalizations. A healthier New York City begins with community-based, person-centered approaches that meet the intersectional needs of vulnerable populations. Thank you again for letting me testify, and I'm going to submit a written testimony later.
Thank you. You have 72 hours to submit a written testimony.
Yes.
Diana, you can begin.
My name is Diana Finch. I speak in support. I live in the same community board district and police precinct as Just Home. I first heard of it in a meeting of local community leaders shown a draft from Jacoby's Community Advisory Board. It seemed a good idea. Affordable, supportive, permanent housing in studio apartments. Correctional Health explained their mandate. Arrange safe re-entry for people with serious health needs and no homes to return to. Next thing I knew, there was strident opposition led from one pocket of the district, well-to-do homeowners in the leafy Indian Village neighborhood by Jacoby. 2 public meetings, one held by Morris Park Community Association, one by Community Board 11 at Jacoby in hopes of a more orderly setting, descended into shouting, boos, curses, threats. Video of the chaos went viral. I should not have been shocked. Morris Park has a regrettable history of opposing people not like us. In 1984, a local broker and the Morris Park Association, which then ran a housing referral service, reached agreement with the state attorney to stop keeping blacks and Hispanics from moving in, settle lawsuits they'd violated city, state, federal housing law through racial steering and discrimination. The vitriol spread to local Facebook groups. Just Home residents were called Rikers inmates, their permanent housing a shelter. Medically complex became mentally ill pedophiles. Screened as responsible was violent recidivists who terrorize hospital staff and roam nearby streets. Councilmember Marmorato ran and still runs on this platform, focusing fear on 58 future Just Home constituents out of the 168,000 she represents. Health and housing are human rights. Health and hospitals approved the ground lease. I urge the council and the mayor to approve as well. Thank you.
Robert, you can begin.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Hanks and other members of the City Council for the opportunity to testify. My name is Robert Cohen. I'm a physician. I was the director of the Montefiore Rikers Island Health Services from 1981 to 1986. I served as the vice president of medical operations at the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation from 1986 through 1988. I served as the city council's representative on the Board of Correction for 16 years, ending in July of this year. I was also a member of the Fortune Society Board of Directors for 17 years. These were consecutive, so for 44 years I've worked with the city and the Fortune Society. Today's hearing concerns matters close to my heart, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak in strong support of the Just Home Initiative. The New York City Criminal Justice Administration has analyzed data over the past 8 years on the relationship between homelessness and release from New York City jails. CJA found that pretrial detention is associated with a 420% increased likelihood of becoming homeless. This relationship is significant at the 0.5 level. It would be significant at any level. Tossing men and women with serious medical problems out of jail and onto the streets without a place to live is cruel and heartless. The city's shelter system is enormous, but it is not equipped to care for seriously ill homeless people leaving jail. The city's opportunity to provide supportive housing for these patients with complex medical needs is not optional. It is essential. These men and women have serious medical needs requiring supportive care that they will not receive if they do not have a place to live. This program should be celebrated and not subject to cost-benefit analysis and score. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for this panel? Councilmember Marmorato?
Ms. Finch, I find it really disheartening that you're going to bring an incident that happened over 40 years ago up today and try to paint our community as racist, because that's far from the truth. I'd like to know, when was the last time you rode your scooter through Indian Village to see the diversity within the community that is currently living there right now?
Probably about a month ago.
Okay, have you seen the change in diversity in our neighborhood over there?
I know Black people and Hispanic people who live in that area, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions related? Seeing none, this panel is now excused. Thank you so much. I'd now like to call Patricia Cambria, Phyllis Basalone, Patricia Marinello, and Rochelle Mandina to the dais. Okay, just a reminder, 2 minutes, and Patricia can begin.
Okay. Good morning, council members. My name is Patricia Cambria, and I am here to strongly oppose the Just Home project at Jacoby Hospital. What troubles me the most is how this proposal came to light. It was not openly discussed with the community. It was not presented in a transparent way. It was leaked out. That alone tells us something. If this project were truly in the best interest of the Bronx, it would have been shared proudly and discussed openly with the people who live here. Instead, the community was left in the dark. We deserve honesty. We deserve input. Instead, we are being told after the fact that our neighborhood will host housing for people leaving jail, including pretrial detainees. These are individuals who are still in the court process, not yet convicted, but deeply involved in the criminal justice system. And now they're being prioritized over seniors, veterans, and working families who have been waiting years for affordable housing. This is wrong. It is wrong in how it was handled, and it is wrong in its priorities. The Jacoby site should serve the people of this community. Seniors, veterans, and local residents need a safe, affordable housing near health care, not a project that was hidden from us and forced upon us without our consent. I urge the council reject Just Home, demand real transparency, real community engagement, and a project that meets the real needs of the people of the Bronx. Thank you.
Phyllis, you can begin.
Good afternoon, council members. As a resident of this extremely diverse community and a senior, I have witnessed firsthand the challenges that many older adults face, particularly when it comes to housing and social isolation. Our seniors, who have contributed so much to the fabric of our society, deserve not only safe and affordable housing, but also a space where they can engage with one another, access necessary services, and remain active participants in their community. Many seniors are living on fixed incomes, which often makes finding affordable, accessible housing a significant challenge. Without sufficient housing options tailored to their needs, whether it's mobility, assistance, proximity to health care, or affordable rent, the risk of homelessness, overcrowding, and health complications increases for them. Senior housing options are not just a matter of comfort, but of dignity and security for those who have given so much to our community. And the waiting lists for these options are years long. Beyond housing, a community center dedicated to seniors offers a vital space for connection, well-being, engagement. In a world where isolation is a growing concern, a community center provides opportunities for seniors to form lasting relationships, participate in activities that stimulate their minds and bodies, and seek support when needed. It becomes a place where they can continue to thrive, engage in lifelong learning, and contribute to the community. I urge you to vote no against Just Homes.
Patricia, you can begin.
I am a lifelong resident of Morris Park. The Just Home presentation to the advisory board stated, "How will Just Home benefit Jacoby?" Direct quote, "Will increase patient volume and revenue for Jacoby as Just Home tenants will utilize Jacoby services. 90% of all CHS patients who are potentially eligible for an apartment are Medicaid eligible." Yet on two different FAQs, Jacoby doubles down, painting themselves as good Samaritans. September FAQ asked if Just Home is a money-making scheme. No, Just Home is intended to provide dignified care for vulnerable individuals. Just Home FAQ 3, is Just Home a revenue-generating project for the city or H&H? No, Just Home is not designated to generate revenue for the city or H&H. This flip-flop calls into question the true intention of the project and raises questions about the financial arrangements. I have all the documents here with me if you wish to review. Let me be clear, we are not opposed to housing for this building, but it should not be a way for Jacoby to line their pockets with patients that are required to use their services. We have a need for senior affordable housing. Jacoby has not partnered with the community or made any provisions to provide jobs for these individuals. They are worried about one thing, money. They cannot raise their revenue due to their one-star rating. These individuals will use their medical facilities and be scared to complain for fear of losing housing. There are multiple irregularities with the way this contract was awarded. First, the change population. Second, the fast-track approval of developer. Multiple FOIL requests have been submitted to different city agencies, have been denied or delayed for over 3 years. For 2023, the Fortune Society received over $55 million, a $20 million increase from the previous year in government grants and fees. A published independent audit for June 2023 identified significant deficiencies in internal controls. We really hope that if member deference is requested, it will be honored for both this project and others going forward. And I just want to say that it's disappointing that people took off work today to come testify, and many of the members of this panel left before hearing from the public. Thank you.
Rochelle, you can begin.
Good morning. I also would like to point out that the council members that were complaining about the mayor and the health and hospitals not showing up to the hearing, that we actually took the day off of work to come here, and they didn't have the respect to stay here and listen to us. I'm not sure that they're really concerned about our what we have to say. And I also would like to point out the people speaking in favor of this project, I don't see any of them that live in our community. So I want to tell you quickly a story about who I am, because people decide who people are before they get a chance to really know them. I was adopted at 6 months. I lived in the Parkside Housing Project. My parents divorced when I was 4. We moved, and I lived with my 2 siblings and my mom in a 1-bedroom apartment to be in a safer neighborhood. I became a hairdresser, met my husband, and we worked hard, and we were able to save and buy a house in Indian Village 21 years ago, which ranks 3rd safest in the Bronx. And now I may have to leave and go somewhere safe again and lose what we worked so hard for. Our home will lose value, and this will affect our ability to retire. And why not use Rikers Island to train them for a career? Why not build apartments for them there and treat them there? There are 59,000 empty apartments with NYCHA. Why can't they be placed in those apartments? Putting them in one building would be much more dangerous than releasing them separately. Sorry, I lost my place. Releasing people into a quiet, safe neighborhood and saying, here's a counselor for you to go to, or Jacoby for treatment if you feel like it, doesn't sound like a good plan. 68% of offenders are rearrested within 3 years, and only 10 to 13% of those people are homeless. Our community has a tremendous amount of seniors who need housing. When we had to find senior housing for my mom, they said the list was 10 years. How many seniors live that long? We were lucky and found a place. We are hardworking, tax-paying community members, and we do not deserve this. Please, please look into your hearts and ask if you would want this for your mom or your family or yourself. Thank you for listening.
Any questions for this panel? Thank you. This panel is now excused. I'd like to call up Hayward Morton, Helen Taylor, Ryan Aquinota, and Michael Cass. If you have any additional testimony that you'd like for the members on the dais, you can hand it to the Sergeant at Arms. When ready, Hayward, you can begin.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Hanks, and members of the subcommittee. My name is Hayward Mouton. I serve as the Senior Director of Programs at Our Children and speaking on the organization's behalf in support of Just Homes. I am also a licensed clinical social worker here in New York, and for more than 10 years, I have worked alongside women and families impacted by incarceration. As a social worker, I couldn't go without saying even Abraham Maslow, a well-renowned American psychologist in 1943, noted in the Maslow hierarchy of needs that a person cannot be the best if their basic psychological needs are met, which includes stable housing. As human beings, we shouldn't even be choosing who has housing or not and where they belong. It's people's right to have a roof over their head. We all are one step away from homelessness or making a mistake. And if I or you became homeless or made a mistake, I pray as a Fortune Society they will give me or you a second chance. Our Children, a nonprofit organization serving women and children within the prison and jail system, we work to ensure that mothers stay connected with their children while detained or serving their sentence, and upon release, we provide a 360-degree holistic model of support. This model centers both mother and child, putting them on a path towards successful reentry and long-term self-sufficiency. I can tell you stable housing paired with comprehensive supports is the foundation of successful reentry. This is why Our Children strongly supports the Fortune Society's Just Home initiative. At Our Children, we also know firsthand the quality of Fortune Society's works. They provide outstanding supportive services, and over the years, we have referred clients to Fortune when their programs could best meet a client's need. We have seen the positive impact their care and expertise has had on the people we serve, which gives us even greater confidence in the success of Just Home. By creating 83 affordable and supportive apartments on the Jacoby Hospital campus, Just Home will meet the needs of medically complex individuals leaving jail, people who are often overlooked and underserved. As a fellow provider in the reentry housing space, Our Children knows that Just Home will not only save lives, but will reduce avoidable hospitalization and offer the dignity of homes to people rebuilding after incarceration. Thank you for your time.
Helen, when you're ready, you can begin.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present my testimony.
Sorry, Helen, is your microphone on? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present my testimony today. I'm grateful to be here to share why supportive housing is so very important to me. I want to share why other people who have been incarcerated, like myself, need to have access to supportive housing. This is especially important for people who have health issues and will not be able to survive in shelters. And let alone the street. And I know this only because I once was in a shelter. And unfortunately, I have gotten sick due to asthma and COPD and had to be taken to a hospital where I laid up 45 days in a coma and then got released from the hospital and had the opportunity of getting into the Fortune Society, which I asked then for them to give me a chance to save my life, and they granted me that, and today I'm able to sit here and tell you why it's so important for one to have the opportunity to have their own apartment and live around such caring, loving community. Getting my apartment and working with such wonderful people at the Fortune Society allowed me to go from hanging out and sleeping in the park to performing Shakespeare in the park. Yes, right? The Creative Arts Department at the Fortune Society connected me with the wonderful people of public theaters. The next thing I know, I was acting on stage at the Delcourt Theater, performing on stage.
Just to inform you, Helen, your time has expired. If you can give us your last line.
Okay. By advocating for the people to have access to supportive housing, I'm hoping that the Land Use Committee and the City Council would approve the Just Home projects so that they may have the opportunity that I have at the Fortune Society.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Ryan, you can begin when ready.
Thank you, Chair and subcommittee members. My name is Ryan Aquata. I'm a Bronx resident. I spent several years working in the Bronx Criminal Court, collaborating with the District Attorney's Office on various alternative to incarceration programs. And over those years in the court, I interviewed hundreds of people, some detained, some in the community. I worked with anyone the District Attorney in the court would allow me to, and it was my job, if they were homeless, to find them housing, if they needed treatment, if they needed jobs, GEDs, find them whatever they needed. And it was at this time that I spent working in the courts that really showed me why a facility like Just Home is so urgently necessary. And I remember being thrilled when I first heard it announced years ago. I thought of people that I interviewed on Rikers who were in wheelchairs with numerous co-occurring medical conditions whose families had no capacity to house or care for them when they came home. And the concept of Just Home seemed tailor-designed to meet a need that, as a court advocate on the outside, I so often had such difficulty identifying resources to meet, because many of the already existing housing programs for people coming home from jail could not provide the level of medical care that these particular people required, and many of the medical facilities or programs that could provide that appropriate level of care would not take referrals from the jail. And I'm sure everyone here has heard horror stories of people dying on Rikers. I'm sure if people actually read those stories, they see many of those deaths are the result of neglect. People are frequently not getting the medical care that they need on Rikers. Sometimes it's intentionally denied to them. Sometimes it's just extremely difficult to obtain, even if it's not intentionally denied. A colleague of mine spoke to someone on Rikers recently who'd basically given up on his life because traveling between Bellevue and Rikers for chemo treatments was destroying his body. Chemo treatments are incredibly hard to endure just in and of themselves, let alone while shackled, malnourished, sleep deprived, and more. Rikers is just not an environment in which people can get well. And what the city has proposed and is discussing here today in Just Home will save lives. It will make all of us safer, because we are all safer when our neighbors are housed and healthy. And so I urge the subcommittee and the council to approve this proposal. I hope to see Just Home open in the very near future, so everyone who will be a neighbor to the people living there can learn to appreciate their humanity. Thank you.
Michael, you can begin when ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Cass, and I'm a resident of Morris Park. 3 years ago, I testified at a contentious Bronx Community Board 11 hearing on Just Home. Some of my neighbors here tried to drown out my voice, but they couldn't. 3 years later, I'm here to tell the City Council that Just Home is welcome in our community. There's no question that this project is essential. It's for New Yorkers who are otherwise eligible to be released from Rikers, but cannot be discharged to a shelter because shelters are unable to meet their medical needs. Right now, they're completely unserved by existing housing options, and they are still waiting. Just Home is already behind schedule, and we cannot afford to restart from scratch at a less suitable site. Building 2 at Jacoby could not be a more ideal location. Its future tenants are already patients at Jacoby. They are already in our community. Housing them at Building 2 affirms the dignity that all human beings deserve. Now, some of my neighbors will demand other uses for Building 2. They may even invoke the housing crisis. Yet, I've witnessed the same voices oppose every effort to add housing in our district, from the city of Yes, where many of them joined the lawsuit, to the Bronx Metro North rezoning, where Councilmember Christy Marmorato cut an estimated 582 homes. If Building 2 didn't already exist, they would no doubt object to the building itself. If we are to build housing for everyone, we cannot let projects like Just Home be derailed by cynical attempts to pit vulnerable New Yorkers against each other. I urge the City Council to approve this project. Just Home belongs in Morris Park at Building 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for this panel? Thank you. This panel is now excused. I'd like to call up Karen Kutresi, Grace Marrero, Charlene Jackson Mendez, and Mahmoud Zader.
Okay. Do we go in the order we were called?
I will call you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Please make sure your microphone is on, and if any of you have testimony for the panelists, you can hand it over to the sergeant, and Karen, you may begin.
Is it on? Okay. Good morning, council members. I just want to start out by saying I did not grow up in Morris Park. I grew up in the Soundview section of the Bronx. But when I got married and had a child, I wanted to own a home in a family-friendly, safe environment. And so I come here today not just as a homeowner on Seminole Avenue, but as a mother of a small child. My home is supposed to be our safe place, where my child should be free to play in the backyard or ride her bike in front of her house without fear. It's where we build our memories and our future. The idea of people recently released from Rikers Island and pretrial detainees housed directly behind my home fills me with worry. These are individuals who may be struggling with serious issues, and placing them so close to families feels like too great of a risk to take. I believe in second chances. I believe people can change and turn their lives around, but I don't believe my child's safety or the peace of mind of every person here should be the price for that. I understand that these programs are important, but they need to be placed thoughtfully in locations where proper support services and security measures are already in place. Please, I'm asking you, don't let this happen here. Don't make us live in fear in our own backyards. Protect the families who've worked hard to build their homes and their lives in this community. Thank you.
Grace, you may begin when ready.
Is this on? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Grace Marrero, and I'm a community advocate. Like Ms. Finch, I do not live in the Seminole area. However, I support all my community neighborhoods, Indian Village being one of them. So let me be clear. While we believe in helping people rebuild their lives, placing formerly incarcerated individuals with serious medical or mental issues, health issues, on hospital grounds next to residential neighborhoods, schools, and parks raises serious safety and accountability concerns. Jacoby is a public health facility, not a housing development. Its purpose is to serve patients, not to become a de facto supportive housing complex. This sets a dangerous precedent. Once one facility is converted, what's stopping similar projects from taking root in other hospitals without proper community input or insight? There's been a lack of transparency and meaningful engagement with the community. The concerns of local residents who will be directly impacted have been dismissed and minimized. We urge the City Council and project leaders to consider alternative sites better suited for this kind of housing, ones that do not place the burden on communities that are already stretched thin. This is not about being anti-reform or anti-housing. This is about responsible planning, public safety, and respect for the community. And we all know that the majority of people in Rikers are gang members. I don't believe that they're elderly. There may be some elderly, however, the majority are going to be young people without complex health issues. That has been a lie. They keep repeating the lie over and over to people to believe. So that's another thing that needs to be discussed. Thank you.
Charlene, you may begin.
Good afternoon.
To press the button.
Good afternoon. As we approach the 250th anniversary of our beloved America, it is difficult to fathom how the country's most iconic city is being destroyed by radical progressive politicians who sadly make up the majority of the New York City Council. The current City Council has revealed its lack of respect for representative government by failing to adhere to the norm of member deference. Councilwoman Marmorato is a champion for the residents of her district, yet her expertise regarding her own district is constantly disrespected, and as a result, the residents of her district are disempowered. The Just Home Project is a horrific example of government malfeasance. The city seeks to house 50 medically complex pretrial detainees presently living on Rikers Island on the campus of Jacoby Hospital in a community that is filled with vulnerable senior citizens. The definition of the term medically complex is not known. Post-bail reform, those accused of crime are routinely let back into the community. Only those that are accused of the most heinous crimes are even detained. As such, the population of individuals from which the Just Home Project will draw will represent extremely high-risk individuals. These individuals who are highly likely to reoffend will be given 2-year leases with no supervision or requirement that they participate in treatment. This is absolutely irresponsible and represents a clear and present danger to the community. The problems that exist at Rikers Island cannot be resolved by placing residents, medical staff, students, and interns of our community in harm's way. Housing for pretrial detainees should be found near a public hospital in their community of origin.
Mahmoud, you can begin.
Thank you. My name is Mahmoud Zatar. I'm resident from the Bronx community. I'm member with the Morris Park community in Van Nest. I do patrol as volunteer with the Morris Park community. As I come here to show support to our community, I'm against the project, and I'm with housing for senior. Thank you.
Any questions for this panel? Thank you so much. This panel is now excused. I'd like to call up the next panelists, Zachary Katz-Nelson, Haley Nolasco, and Kirsten Blad. Apologies for the mispronunciation. Zachary, you can begin when ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Majority Leader, Council Member. Pleasure to be with you. I'm Zachary Katz-Nelson. I'm the Executive Director of the Independent Rikers Commission, and we are strongly in favor of Just Home. You know, we did polling of New Yorkers, including crime victims, last year about what they want to see, and they want to see exactly investments like this in supportive housing, ways to break the cycle, the churn of homelessness, incarceration, hospitalization. Crime victims especially want to see investments like this. There's no question of efficacy. There's no question that we know that this supportive housing like this breaks the cycle and increases safety. It also saves a ton of money. I mean, average cost of housing somebody at Rikers is $33,000 a month. Average cost of supportive housing is about $4,500 a month. Wouldn't we rather be proactive, invest in things like this, prevent crime victimization in the first place, and have much better outcomes for people that are very ill? Right now, there are over 400 people at Rikers who have already been approved for supportive housing. Is the plan really to just send them to shelters and hope for the best? We have the chance to do something better to build a system that New Yorkers can be proud of, that actually works and is safer for everyone. This is a great example. And I would just add that the Fortune Society has an excellent proven track record of not only operating supportive housing in a way that brings much better outcomes, but also being an excellent neighbor. And this is really an opportunity. They've been working to engage, we know, with mixed success, right? But the opportunity is there for us to try and partner as a city and as communities to try and all do our part to get to a better place. Hopefully this will be a plan that is approved and we support it. Thank you very much.
Haley, you can begin when ready.
Thank you, Chair Hanks, Councilmember Marmorato, and members of the Subcommittee on Landmarks, Public Sitings, and Dispositions for the opportunity to testify in favor of the Just Home project. My name is Kirsten Blad, and I'm the Policy Manager at Open New York, an independent grassroots pro-housing nonprofit working toward the goal of making New York a city where everyone who wants to live here can do so, including the members of our community who have been incarcerated. When formerly incarcerated people return to the city, they face widespread discrimination from landlords and restrictive eligibility requirements for public housing. These barriers are compounded by our city's extraordinarily high rent and severe shortage of units to make it nearly impossible to find housing. Homelessness is in many cases the only option, and for formerly incarcerated individuals who also have serious medical conditions, homelessness can be a death sentence. The Just Home project will provide stable, supportive housing that meets the unique needs of this vulnerable population for the first time. It is only by meeting people's basic needs for shelter and health that they will have the stability and dignity required to heal and to stay out of the justice system long term. So this project is an act of compassion, but it's also a smart investment in the health and safety of our city. Because every unit of supportive housing that we build equates to fewer emergency room visits, fewer police calls and jail readmissions, and the recovery of human potential. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Majority Leader Farias, Councilmember Marmorato. My name is Haley Nolasco, Senior Director of Government Relations at the Center for Justice Innovation. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify in strong support of the Just Home project. Safe, stable, and supportive housing is public safety. When people return from jail without a stable home, they face overwhelming barriers, lost jobs and shelter placements, landlords who turn them away, and restrictions tied to a criminal record. These obstacles harm not only individuals, but also weaken the vibrancy of entire communities by fueling cycles of homelessness, rearrest, and incarceration. Supportive housing breaks this cycle. Research consistently shows that when people have a safe home and the services they need, they are far less likely to return to jail and far more likely to rebuild their lives. Just Home delivers this solution. This thoughtful partnership will create over 80 affordable units, including permanent supportive housing for people with complex medical needs, returning from incarceration, while also housing other community members to foster a stable and inclusive environment. By intentionally serving neighbors who would otherwise face homelessness, Just Home strengthens the entire community as a whole. The building will provide on-site supportive services, as mentioned, with 24-hour security, ensuring residents receive comprehensive care while maintaining safety for everyone. The center supports Fortune Society, whose proven expertise ensures all residents will receive compassionate, high-quality services. Approving this project is both really the right thing to do and a smart investment in the safety, health, and stability of our city. We know that when people are given a real chance, they really rise to it. Every person who finds safety in housing is one less person in crisis and one more neighbor contributing to a stronger, safer city. I respectfully urge the council to approve Just Home. Thank you so much for your time.
Seeing no questions, this panel is now excused. I'd like to call up Lori Peterson, Renata Sclavo, Max Sapone, and Stephen Di Tomosa. Lori, you can begin when ready.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Lori Peterson, and I have been Liddy 9. My house is located on Seminole Avenue. My backyard is facing Jacoby's property. So when I say not in my backyard, I literally mean it. It will be located 200 feet from my home. When we purchased this house, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would have to beg someone like City Council or a mayor not to pass a project like this through. My parents, who also live on Seminole Avenue, are 80 and 81 years old. My neighbor is wheelchair bound. My question is, how are you going to protect them? It's time to start listening to the people who are going to be directly affected by this project and not to the people that are being paid to be here in support of it and don't even live in the neighborhood. It's time to start listening to your taxpayers and worry about their concerns and safety. It's time to say no to this project when our most vulnerable population are our seniors. They need affordable housing and health care, and they should come first. It's time to build up the Bronx and stop dumping on it. It's time for you all to listen to us and stop listening to the people that are going to be lining their pockets. You must say no.
Renato, you can begin when ready. You need to.
I pressed the button. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Renata Sclavo. I want to begin with something personal. My mother is elderly and she desperately needs an affordable apartment. Like so many Bronx seniors, she has been waiting for years. Every day, families like mine worry about whether their parents will be able to age with dignity and stability in a community they have helped build. That is why I'm here to oppose the Just Homes project at Jacoby Hospital campus. This is not about rejecting housing. It is about ensuring housing, reflecting the most urgent need of our community, which is senior housing. Right now, seniors face year-long waiting lists. Many live in apartments they cannot afford or safely navigate. Too many are forced into nursing homes, not because they need that level of care, but because there are no alternatives. These are men and women who work, raise families, and pay taxes here. They are the ones that deserve better. The Jacoby campus presents a unique opportunity. It is directly connected to healthcare and senior services already offered at Jacoby: geriatrics, rehabilitation, primary care, and wellness programs. No site could be better suited to meet the needs of older adults. Imagine how transformative it would be for seniors to live steps away from doctors and programs they rely on daily. Instead, this proposal aims to house pretrial detainees that does not address the real immediate needs of the surrounding areas. I respectfully urge the council to reject the Just Homes project and commit this site to affordable senior housing. Our elderlies, including my mother, have earned the right to live and with dignity, supported by the services Jacoby already provides.
Max, you can begin when ready.
Thank you, council members, for staying. I'm a bit offended that the rest of the council members left, and I feel that my testimony has been diminished because they're not here to hear it. I was touched by Just Homes and how they want to help people, but I'm also at the same time touched by my own community, and I'm going to tell you a little story. There's an 83-year-old woman, her name is Mary. I was speaking to her and she said that she has to move out and she can't afford another apartment. She's been living in the area since she was 18 years old. At this point, she has to move to New Jersey with her granddaughter. That's one story. Another story that no one's talked about today, about almost a year ago, on January 10, 2025, there was a fire in Allerton Avenue. 60% out of 250 people are still living in shelters. They don't have a place to live. I was talking to one of the advocates this morning on the way here, and she said it's great that they want to bring these projects to the Bronx, but what about us? What about us? What about the people of the community that actually need the help? They're not getting it. They're not getting it. So why don't we concentrate on the people that actually live in the community first and help them find apartments, the elderly, keep them there? Why are we forcing them out and bringing new people in? Again, I'm touched by what they're trying to do with people who are in jail and getting out. And I believe in second chances. But at the same time, I'm an advocate for my own community. I've been living there all my life, and I want to help the people. I don't want to see them forced out.
Thank you.
Stephen, you can begin when ready.
Thank you. My name is Stephen DiTomaso. I am a lifelong Bronx resident, and I have seen lots of growth, expansion, and change within my community over the years. Some has been for the better, and some not so much. One thing we could always count on was our elected officials acting in the best interest of their community. The Just Home project definitely falls into the not good change category. Rarely is there a project that garners such across-the-board agreement. Elected officials from both parties agree that this project is wrong for this location, including multiple Bronx council members, our senator, assemblyman, and even the Bronx Borough President. We also have over 3,000 signatures from local residents from all walks of life opposing this project. Our city council has long recognized that while we are one city, we are not all the same. What works in Upper Manhattan may not work in Lower Manhattan. What works in Brooklyn may not work in the Bronx. Local representation and local voices are what keep the city unique and strong. There is a long history of members calling on their colleagues to support their district needs. We know there is a charter revision proposal that aims to limit the role of City Council in land use. We hope that since Adrian Adams supports member deference as a key part of ensuring members can vote and advocate for their communities, you will all honor member deference in this project and others going forward. We need to keep land use decisions in the hands of elected officials, not unelected bureaucrats and developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for this panel? No. The only statement I want to say is to Max, thank you for your testimony. I think a lot of us here in the council, particularly when looking at our communities, I'm a member that borders this community, and I represent Westchester Square, which also is a part of Community Board 10. We're constantly trying to find ways to house every single person that needs housing in this community. And I think the goals that we have are directly reflective in the more nuanced conversation that you're hoping continues to happen with this project. And again, I think we hope to see, I particularly hope to see a lot of the other community boards around the Bronx, outside of what I can control in CB9 and CB10, support building more housing in our communities, because our seniors need it, our mothers with kids need it, even single individuals need it. So I look forward to that continued, more nuanced conversation throughout the years. Thank you all. This panel is now excused. I'd like to call up Tiffany Raspberry from the Mayor's Office and Diane Savino from the Mayor's Office.
Good afternoon.
You can begin when ready.
Yes. It's on? Oh, it is on. Thank you. Good afternoon, Councilmember Farias, Councilmember Marmorato, and the former council members who were here, but I'm sure they're listening somewhere, and I think I saw Councilmember Felice was on the Zoom. So I am Diane Savino. I am the Senior Advisor for the New York City Office of the Mayor and the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. I'm joined by Tiffany Raspberry, our Deputy Mayor. We submitted testimony that was originally drafted on behalf of Mitchell Katz, who is the head of the Health and Hospitals Corporation, who had requested that this hearing be postponed because we are in further discussions about the potential use of this property. That request was denied. We submitted testimony, so I'm just going to briefly read into it on behalf of Mitchell Katz. He was writing in regards to Land Use 0363-2025, application number G230033HHX. A land use application that was submitted by the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation requesting authorization to lease a parcel of land located on the Jacoby Hospital campus to the Fortune Society. At this time, the Adams administration is actively reviewing the Just Home project. The city is developing a new proposal that would identify a different location for Just Home, and I think it's important to note we are committed to finding that location, and also on this site to deliver supportive and affordable housing at the Jacoby Hospital site. This approach would ultimately allow more people in need to receive the care and services that they deserve. We hope to come back to the council in the near future with a plan that would continue to deliver the Just Home project, affordable and supportive housing on the Jacoby campus. We look forward to working with the council on this process. And I think it's important to note, I heard a lot of the testimony from the Fortune Society. We are committed to that project. not at this location, though. And in my previous career as a member of the Senate, I had the opportunity to visit the Fortune Society's castle in Washington Heights more than once. It is an amazing program. They do God's work there. There's no doubt about that. But we are here to talk about this location and what we would like to do with this location, and also find another location so we can be committed to Just Home.
Is there any other additional testimony?
That's it.
When was the postponement request filed for the hearing?
I believe yesterday.
Do you folks think that's suitable amount of time for all the people that gave up their day for work on their jobs to their family, picking up their children, to come out here for us to then say it's allowable to postpone this hearing date while they're all already committed to coming, despite whatever its opposition or support of this?
Well, with all due respect, Council Member, the
Majority Leader.
Majority Leader.
Thank you.
The request came from the chair of the H&H, and he asked for it, so I can't answer on his behalf. Obviously, we wanted to hear what the people had to say, which is why I sat here for the past several hours to listen to the
We
community.
appreciate you being here for the entire hearing.
Right. We are interested in what the people of this community have to say. We're interested in what the local council member has to say, and that's why we're here.
I hear that response. All I'm saying, at least for us on the council side, and I can't speak on behalf of the chair's decision, I'm here in interim as she's managing a lot of things for the committee right now, and in respect of the local council member having her hearing date and her constituency and some of my constituency as well. We could not postpone or accept that request for postponement on behalf of the people that are coming into this chamber to express their opinion. And so whether it was H&H or came directly from the administration, that was an inappropriate request to come in within 24 hours of when we're supposed to notify the public.
We don't necessarily disagree, which is why we're here, and which is why we felt it was important enough to sit through the entire hearing process, listen to what the people who are going to be affected by this have to say, and wait to be able to present why we thought it was important to postpone it. But obviously that request was not approved, and we're here.
And how long have you folks in the administration been deliberating a new location for this site? That has not been recently communicated to the chair. I'm unsure. You can speak on your behalf how recently that was communicated to the member themselves.
We've been negotiating or deliberating this site for several years, and now with two different members of the council that represent the community.
But when was it decided that you folks are going to find a new location?
I couldn't give you an exact date, but this conversation has been
ongoing,
months in the works, and I would point out that this hearing that we're holding today could have been held at any point in the last 2 years, and it was not. The council itself chose not to move forward on this land authorization, and so we're here today for the first time.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'd just like to say we actually offered the site that we're currently looking into years ago when this first came about as an alternate location. Like I said, we're painted out to be these terrible individuals that live in this community. We're not. We said we'd always like to see it as supportive housing or some type of affordable housing. We proposed the site that we're currently looking at to see if that makes sense. And at the end of the day, what it's really going to do is just create more housing in the district. So thank you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for listening to my community and letting them have a voice.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. We're now going to move to, we're now going to move to our final in-person panel. If anyone that would like to speak and has not signed up to speak, please go to the Sergeant at Arms to fill out a request at the desk. I see some raised eyebrows. Sergeants, can you raise your hand if you'd like to speak and have not signed up? Those people need to fill out cards. I'd like to call up Roy Medina, Christopher Leon Johnson, Franchi Muniz, Caroline Schwab, and Irene Estrada.
Hey, yep. Last panel today. Yeah.
If you can find your chairs quietly so we can continue the proceeding. Great. Roy, you can begin when ready. Are you Roy? Yes. You can begin when ready. Just make sure your microphone is on.
All right. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay.
gentleman here from the Fortune Society read a verse from the Bible. I believe it was from Matthew. I'm going to read something from Matthew also. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Do not cross their path. Do not wait in the way of evil. Avoid it. Don't go to it. Turn away from it and pass it on. And pass on. The gentleman from the Fortune Society spoke of success stories, but he left out the recidivism rate. Now, he knows, he's got experience all the years that he said, and I'm proud of him that he was formerly incarcerated and made a success story. That's beautiful. But we've got to face the truth. 3 out of 10 of these people are going to be reincarcerated in the first 12 months, and 6 out of 10 are going to be reincarcerated in the first 36 months. And we can't avoid that. You can't ignore that. You have to sometimes think with your brain, and sometimes you have to think with your heart. Okay? And they already dispelled the notion, the medical staff, when we had the meeting at the Rotunda at Jacoby Hospital, that it's only going to be people that are disabled that are going to be housed there. That's not true. That lie needs to end. And I want to say this to the council. The other day, 4 days ago, a young girl, a friend of my daughter's, was walking in our neighborhood when 2 guys started following her. They were wearing ski masks, they were on bicycles, and she was terrified. Then they started to chase her, but she was too far from her house, so she had to run into a stranger's house. Do you understand what she felt? Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever tasted that kind of fear? Because this girl's never going to forget this, and this is what's going to happen.
Your time is up. If you can give us your last
Sorry.
line.
I'm sorry?
You have one last line. This is my rule. You have one last line.
I've lost my hearing.
It's okay. If you wanted to just conclude your statement with a line.
Okay. My house is 96 years old. You know how many families have lived there in 96 years? 2. Because it's that kind of neighborhood. But now they've got this fear of what's going to be happening to our neighborhood. People are putting up for sale signs. They're running out of there. Don't vote for this. It's just not right. If that girl would have ran into your house, you would have opened your door. Don't close the door on us. It's not right.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I'd like to next call up Christopher. You can begin when you're ready.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Christopher Leon Johnson. I want to be on the record that I know there's a lot of controversy within here about the situation between me and Christy about the Bronx casino, but I'm a man of my word from 2023 to be on the record that me and Christy actually drove into the Just Home area in 2023 to canvass and talk to some people, and I'm gonna be a man of my word and say I'm still opposed to the project. I'm opposed both to Just Home and I'm opposed to Jacoby. Now I'm gonna make clear that, like this guy back here, Stanley Richards, won't he admit that he actually enabled a pedophile to sit here 2 years ago in 2022, like 3 years ago, 2022, to speak on behalf of a bill that will allow pedophiles to live next to your kids without being vetted? Won't he be on the record and admit that to the people right here, all people here, that he was the main one that engineered this stuff called Local Law 17 to allow pedophiles to live next to your kids while being vetted? Stanley Richards himself. Now, I'm opposed to this project because it's going to create a lot of crime. This is going to bring the wrong type of demographic into the area, which is going to destroy the district. It's going to destroy the whole community. All these nonprofits are getting paid to push this. They're all getting paid by the speaker through discretionary funding to push this project in. The mayor's office, the reason they didn't come out, and that's why he's out the door in about next 6 months, Eric Adams, is because he's down with the Fortune Society. He is down with that nonprofit, a corrupt nonprofit that does nothing for the people. All they do is send the worst of society into areas that people don't want them to be in, and they let them live in those districts with no opposition because the mayor is down with that nonprofit. He's down with Stanley Richards, and they both Freemasons. Both of them are Freemasons. Now, let's make that clear that people need to oppose this project. and I'm calling on the city council to oppose this project. And I know that Kevin Riley won't oppose this project because he's another Freemason, and this is the biggest problem here. We got to start calling out these Freemasons in the city council, like why they made a Freemason like Kevin Riley the chair of the land use committee. And then they removed this guy the chair, and he's nothing but a clown to the developer. And one more line. People need to start going outside Kevin Riley's house. These people here need to start going outside this guy's house and oppose this project.
I'm going to stop you right there. You're not going to call on anyone to go into a member's home.
No, it's America.
Your time is over.
It's America. And
your time is up.
House and protest.
Shut his mic, sergeants. Thank you so much. You can see yourself out of the chambers. Frenchie, whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Good morning. My name is Frenchie Muniz, and I had a statement ready, but I'm going to break this down. I don't need it. Because just like Miss Diana Finch, I don't live in the area, but I do support them, and I know what they're going through. This morning, I saw a video of an immigrant person with 2 children, her 2 daughters, that said he had just recently, about 3 years ago, bought a home there. And he's afraid for his daughter, and that if this project goes forward, okay, he might end up selling his home. An immigrant father. And another thing, too, that I want to raise here, something that I did not like, Ms. Diana Fish saying that the community is racist. Look at me, Hispanic guy. I'm a Hispanic guy. I have not felt no racism in the area. And I visit the area, I have friends in the area and everything. So for her to say those things, keep bringing racism to all these hearings and everything, it's just breaking apart the community. And we cannot have that anymore. Everybody here that's in favor of just home, they're all getting paid. They get paid. So yes, they're going to support this bill. I'm not getting paid. I sympathize with that community. We are losing the communities, and we cannot allow that. We have a lot of people that have children or want to create a home and live in New York, in the Bronx, and that is disappearing. We're having a lot of one-bedrooms apartments coming up, studios apartment. Where's the family gonna go? We have to think about this. Thank you.
Caroline, you can begin when ready.
Hi, my name is Caroline. Thanks for allowing me to testify today. I'm a community organizer. I work extensively with communities in the Bronx. We work to mobilize house neighbors in support of neighbors experiencing homelessness. The crux of our work lies in that when we welcome, embrace, and support neighbors with complex needs, the community as a whole does in fact become a safer and better place. I've actually personally been touched by the number of Bronx community members that I've worked with who strive to make their neighborhoods better by working with homeless individuals. Their work has proved that when you're not scared and you work in collaboration, it's beneficial for everyone. I've spent a considerable amount of time in a supportive housing site with volunteers, actually doing things like crocheting and computer literacy, and these connections that we've formed with folks who have been formerly incarcerated, who are in supportive housing, really have been beneficial for everyone, which is why I come today in support of Just Homes. When individuals are treated with respect and provided with the support that they need to recover, they are less likely to reoffend. When people's basic needs are met, everyone is safer. Formerly incarcerated individuals with complex needs are more likely to re-enter homelessness, and they especially deserve the dignity to recover peacefully. And as we hear calls for more affordable and supportive housing, I urge the Council to approve this project to help those who are among the most vulnerable in achieving stability to work towards a safer and better place is the ideal first step in creating more of this supportive and affordable housing. And I urge the Council and the community members to support this project to work towards a more welcoming, kinder, and safer New York. Thank you.
Irene, you can begin when ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Irene Estrada, and I am the president of Mothers Against 1900, and I am also a mayor candidate. When I found out about Just Homes coming to our community, I went to Community Board 11, and I told them that Indian Village had to be notified. Their response was, not now. I told them I would go door knocking and notify the whole community. Many times these projects are swept under the rug and communities have no information. We are a very well-informed community and we stand against this project. I am also a minister, a clergy, and I have been on the bridge between Just Homes and the community, from the meetings, the rallies, the protests, and everything to get the message out. Now, after 3 years, we are here, and the final request considered another area. This is a wrong location. We recognize the scripture that he spoke about in the book of Matthew, and I would like to add that, yes, we do take care of the sick, we take care of the homeless, and we do help those that have needs in our communities, because in our district, we are one. We are one big family. We're the body of Christ. This project needs a different location to protect the little ones. We have 5 schools in the area. We need to use wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and hear the people's needs and what the people need in their community. We need senior affordable housing with a wraparound service for their medical needs while waiting for 10 years on a waiting list. We need responsible planning and accountability. Just Homes housing reentry is important, but not in this location. In our district, we had a fire in the building where I was a tenant association president for over 35 years. I moved in 2014, and I've been helping those families since. That fire was 2910 Wallace Avenue. That fire left 300 people homeless. We need to take care of our people in our own communities. These are families in shelters.
Irene,
they have children.
Your time has expired, so just give us your last line, please.
My last statement will be that I am not surprised at the show of our elected officials not attending this hearing, and it shows the disrespect for District 13. Government is supposed to be the work for the people, and we the people have been disrespected. Everyone that has testified in this project do not live in this area who are for it. We who are opposed, we came out of our homes to come here to request that city council members will listen to our community, because our community is not only well-informed, we are important. Thank you.
Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Any questions for this panel? Okay, no questions for this panel. You folks are excused. Just a friendly reminder to those in the room, you have 72 hours to submit a written testimony to this committee. Those testimony packages will then go to members of the committee and anyone else, any other member that wants access to review testimonies. Those will not be inaccessible to anyone a part of the committee. I'm now going to move to virtual testimony, and I'd like to first recognize Dan Miller to unmute himself, following Kevin Deloya and Gino Marmorato.
You may begin.
Dan Miller.
Hello, yes. My name is Dan Miller. I'm here to support Just Home. I just want to say that I think I've heard from many commenters that we should listen to the people most affected by this project, and I agree, which is why I'm surprised that I haven't heard a single medically complex older patient being released from Rikers on this panel. Somehow the most affected seem to be people who live nearby rather than those who would actually live here. This kind of project is exactly the kind of thing that our city needs. Rikers Island is a hellhole. I wouldn't want one of my family, especially a family member with medical conditions, to be trapped there when unable to receive the care they need because the city hasn't built enough housing for people in that situation. This is a chance to make that right. We can do better than what we're doing. We can make the world a better place. We can provide the housing that people need who are in a really tough situation. And to throw that away because of concerns about the location or the, like the crocodile tears of oh, well, this should be for some other type of affordable housing. This project is right on the cusp. We can do it. We can get it done. And I think we should, because we need this type of housing. We need it here. It's a perfect location for it. And this is what the city needs. If you wouldn't want one of your family
Thank
members
you.
to be
Your
trapped
time has
on
expired.
record, join us. Thanks.
Thank you. Kevin Zaloya, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and give us your testimony.
You may begin.
Kevin, I'm calling you for a second time. If not, I'll move on to the next panelist and try again. Okay, I'm going to move on to Gino Marmorato. You can unmute yourself when ready.
You may begin.
Thank you, Council. Well, thank you to those of you that showed the courtesy, dignity, and respect of staying throughout this hearing and listening to all speakers, both for and against. 30 to 4, 30 to 4. That was the community board's vote opposing this project. While merely advisory, the vote carries weight. The community board is not one-sided. It is comprised of socialists, liberals, moderates, Republicans, conservatives, and everything in between. Our community is broad, our community is compassionate, our community is understanding, but above all, our community is responsible. No one disputes that affordable housing is needed, and yes, this project has elements that sound appealing on paper. But when all the facts are laid out, the overwhelming vote against it makes sense. The project was rejected because it was reckless, rushed, and lacking in thoughtful planning. The proposed site sits in the heart of a residential neighborhood, surrounded by families, schools, playgrounds, and community spaces. Children walk these streets every day. Parents drop their kids off at schools just blocks away. Seniors rely on the stability and safety of this area. Safety is not a scare tactic, it is a responsibility. Placing formerly incarcerated individuals in this dense residential community raises real serious questions that to this day remain unanswered. Yes, when this proposal was introduced, community members were angry and some may have been hostile, but context matters. When people feel deceived and dismissed, of course, frustration rises. Members of my community felt there was no transparency, collaboration, or partnership. There are two sides to every story, actually three. So if you want the truth, look to your own colleague, the council member for this district. Through her efforts and that of our community, I'm happy to hear that New York City Health and Hospitals, the Mayor's Office, and Fortune Society are now working on a sensible, well-planned, and well-thought-out solution for everyone. Thankfully, our community has a council member who listens first, asks questions, does her due diligence, and advocates with passion and
Thank you, your time expired.
Fear and not trust. I remind this council that you've always stood up for the rights of members on your land use matter. But remember, fairness means not cherry picking when those rights are protected. I urge you to stand with your colleague and honor your own principle of member deference.
Thank you for your testimony. I'm going to call Kevin Zaloya one more time to see.
You may begin.
Okay, if you folks are leaving the chambers, please leave the chambers quietly. I'm going to move on to the next panelist as we're still having some tech difficulties. I'd now like to call up Roxanne Delgado, followed by Austin Celestine and Anuva Goel. Roxanne Delgado, you can unmute yourself when ready.
You may begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, my name is Roxanne Delgado, and I would like to say I live Pelham Parkway, which is District 13, that includes Jacoby Hospital. My main concern is why did it take so many years to have this hearing? And why is this hearing being held now, right before elections? Is this payback because the Bronx Democratic machine is upset with our councilwoman who listened to her community and voted no to a corporation bounties that will bring poverty, pollution, addictions, and take away our precious parkland? The district is majority Latino, I know that, including Morris Park. Most of them are homeowners, which is great for the Latino community. And many of them hold moderate or conservative views, unlike myself, but that doesn't make them racist. And the fact that someone comes out of our district constantly trying to divide us by calling people racist, even myself, and I'm obviously Latina, a person of color, is disgraceful. We do have lots of disagreement. We are a very passionate community, but believe me, we're very diverse and we do work together. I also like to say I witnessed our own Bronx Democrat machine selling us out to real estate developers, corporations, special interests, and why the Bronx and most of the marginalized community is suffering the consequences, including myself. I'd like to say our councilwoman was elected, and I myself also voted for her. She represents us, and you must please defer to her because she speaks for our community. Don't disempower a community, a very diverse community, because of people who are stating that the community does not reflect the council or because of special interests. She represents our community, and in my own opinion, she's doing good work because she's speaking for our behalf. So please listen to the community. Also, regarding Fortune Society, they are doing a lot of good work, and they represent Democrats that suffers a lifelong punishment despite the fact that they serve their time. So this is no shade against Fortune Society. I do support them, but I don't think that we should disengage the community or disregard our councilwoman because of politics. So I thank you for your time, and thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I'd now like to call on Austin Celestine to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Austin Celestine. I prepared this on short notice, so if this is incoherent, I apologize. I would like to start off by mentioning two quotes from former popular civil servants in regards to similar projects from Manhattan. In 2019, former Councilwoman Margaret Chin uttered the words, "There's no such thing as alternative sites, only additional ones." And while this line has been uttered many times, former First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer said the line that housing delayed is housing denied. And I want to start with that first quote. People have brought up the need for housing for seniors, for families, for health staff, and for veterans, all laudable, necessary, critical needs. But also, for the formerly incarcerated, that housing is just as critical. Housing for them is more than just a housing issue. It is a public safety issue. It is a health issue. They are at their best and they are at their safest, and the community is at their safest when they have a roof over their heads and services available to them. If they are unhoused, they are the most vulnerable to recidivism. They are most vulnerable and everybody else is most vulnerable. I'm hearing rumors that there's a second site that's possible. If there's a second site, go for it. But build both. Don't do one or the other. Don't put these vulnerable communities against each other. And every time we talk about alternatives, very often the goalpost shifts. Look at Haven Green. People pointed to 388 Hudson as an alternative when they started building that support band. And now, Randy Mastro interfered with that project, proposed rezonings, haven't heard anything about it in months. And then to that second line about housing delay is housing denied. It was 3 years ago when the first community meetings started. Those viral videos of some of the nastiest public comments I've ever seen, that was October 2022. The New York Giants were a good football team back then. You know how long ago that was? It's 2025 and we're still in public hearings. Let's say that it is good faith and we do shift gears. Are you saying that we have to do another 3
Thank you, your
years
time
of public
expired.
review? So please vote yes for this project, and if we're serious about those alternatives, go for both. It's not one or the other. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder for our virtual public testimony, you have 72 hours to send in your written testimony, and you can send that to testimony@council.nyc.gov. I'll now call on Anuva Goel.
You may begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Anuva, and I'm a Morris Park resident speaking in support of Just Home, which will be built just a block away from where I live. I'm currently a medical student living in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine apartments, and I'm reminded of a patient at Weiler Hospital who my team and I recently cared for, who had struggled to access stable housing following incarceration, in part due to restrictions given his history of incarceration. This contributed to him being unhoused, unable to prioritize his health above other needs, when even access to food was a daily struggle, impacting his mental health and putting him at risk of substance use and unhealthy exposures. Ultimately, these risk factors led to a hospital admission for infective endocarditis, an infection of the heart, but with a prolonged hospital stay, since he was not eligible for continuing his long IV antibiotic course outside of the hospital due to his unstable housing situation. So clearly his lack of housing put him at greater risk of worse uncontrolled health outcomes and also strained the hospital system's resources for an otherwise preventable and shorter hospital stay. The Just Home project would address many of these barriers by providing previously incarcerated individuals with stable, permanent housing, allowing them to address other urgent social and economic needs with the assistance of support staff, including case managers, social workers, and fortune services. And with the close proximity to Jacoby, this will also allow for a renewed focus and attention on management of complex health needs and continuous access to necessary meds, scans, and labs, while also affording quick and easy access to specialists and treatments in the setting of acute health exacerbations. So ultimately, I think the Just Home project will improve the health of a vulnerable population while also not causing unnecessary overutilization of in-demand, limited, and expensive health services, ensuring that all community members have appropriate health access. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I'd like to recognize a virtual participant that is currently listed under iPhone. If you can unmute yourself and state your name prior to giving your testimony.
You may begin.
Do you hear me?
We can hear you. Please state your name for the record and then give your testimony.
Thank you very much. This is Kevin DeLoya. I had a microphone issue earlier. I don't have any pre-written things to say here. I want to say that I am for the Just Home project, and I have been since day one. I've gone to many meetings, and I've heard both sides of the positive and the negative about the project. And the more housing we have for any individual will help the New York City housing problem that we have. I'm not going to say much more. You have my point that I'm for the project, and I would like to continue to stay positive towards the project. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for waiting and calling me back.
Thank you so much for your testimony. If there are any other remote public participants who wish to testify and have not already done so, please press the raise hand button now. And if you are here with us in person, please see one of the sergeants at arms to fill out a speaker card. Seeing none, and no other members of the public who wish to testify, both in person or virtually, regarding LU 364 for a project known as Jacoby Just Home, the public hearing is now closed and the item is laid over. That concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, Subcommittee, Council, Land Use staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for your participation today. This meeting is hereby adjourned.